you in this journey. And after that, we'll give you an overview of the support services that IITM Incubation Cell offers. This is a very quick overview, so we will not be going into the details of each and every one of them. You have been receiving emails, say about the mentoring clinic or about our design clinic, the entire set of services that we offer. But nevertheless, even though these mails go out, some of you may have seen it, particularly for our newer incubatees who may have seen a very lengthy email. We thought we'll take this opportunity to give you a quick overview of the support services. And then, of course, we will touch upon the compliance that is necessary. And why we do this is because, one, especially for all the new ventures, it's very important to know what are the mandatory compliances, what are some of the good to have kind of agreements and contracts that we suggest. Again, like I said, our intent here is to kind of give you an overview of what are the major compliances that you should be looking at. And if you really have questions on this, then again, we will refer you to, we also hold very regular clinics, which are CS clinics, legal clinics. We will be touching upon this, where you can certainly come in and kind of leverage that and ask the consultants your questions. So let me introduce myself to those who don't know me. I'm Jaya. I'm part of the team at the IIT Madras Incubation Cell. And I also have with me my colleagues Rupa and Divyashree, who will be primarily handling these sessions. Guys, if you could just say a quick hello. I don't know what the situation is like, but if you could just turn on your video for a minute. If you can't, not a problem. Just to say hello to everyone here.
Yeah, hello, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. So,
hi, good evening.
Hi, everyone.
Rupa, Divyashree, anyone? Shriprana, just a quick hello to everyone,
Hi.
and then we can switch off.
Hello all. Hello all.
Yeah.
Good. So
Hi.
there is Rupa who's waving right now. She will be helping me. Divyashree, if you have an issue, I understand you don't have power for like some time now, so that's okay. Thank you, everyone. So, so what I'll do is I'll kind of quickly share few slides which you've kind of prepared to give you an overview of this. Let me just go to that. Yeah. Yeah, I trust everyone's able to see this. Okay, good. So like I mentioned, Incubation Cell has always believed in engaging quite consistently with our startups, through various forums. I mean, the training series is one of the ways in which we kind of engage with our startups who attend these sessions. And of course, we have mentoring clinics in which our startups come in. There are other forums. So we do stay connected to our startups, throughout their journey. But now the thought is to kind of maybe have a more structured approach to doing this. And therefore, we've designed a framework, which I'll be quickly touching upon here, on how we hope to do this with all our startups, all the current incubators, and certainly, with all the newer incubators whom we are onboarding. So we certainly plan to engage with our incubator leadership. And the way we want to kind of support you further is by strengthening your board process and by strengthening the mentor engagement. I'll talk about it in just a slide or two. And what we would also like to do on a very regular basis is to kind of track your progress on some of the key business parameters, So certainly the product and your business plan is part of it, but we would also like to know how you're holding, say, on your compliance, right? We would also like to know how you're holding on your fund status. What is your cash flow like? Do you have enough funds to sustain you over a period of time? So these are certain things which we would like to understand. And again, there are details which I'll be sharing with you in just a minute or so. What would we like to do to start with is to kind of first get a quick understanding of where the company is at in some of these key aspects. Who are the key founders? What is your core team? What are their roles? Do you have any current mentors? What is the board structure like? We, of course, as you would have experienced, we do help you, with all the company incorporation, other incubation formalities, and so on. We will also be introducing you to the other support services. Today is a good first step where we give you an overview of all the support services. Even otherwise, we will kind of be reaching out to you and giving you more information on a regular basis of what else can you leverage, by virtue of what Incubation Cell offers as support. We will be recommending what we think is the best practices for understanding or helping your company really move forward, which is to conduct regular board meetings and to engage very regularly with your mentors. There will be whatever current business plan you have, whatever your product is at, your go to market, all the current business activities we will review. And how do we plan to do this? For each and every company, we will be assigning an IC representative. If you already have not been assigned one, there should be some of the startups with whom, one of the IC representative has been in touch, has gotten in touch. If not, then please do expect a communication in the coming days. There will be an IC representative who will be assigned to each startup. And the purpose of this IC representative will be to regularly engage with you. The intent is to at least do it once in 3 months on a quarterly basis. But that does not mean that again, he or she will not engage with you again through different forums. And this person should remain your main point of contact in case you have any questions, queries, if you're facing any challenges, it could be anything to do with the company, you should be able to reach out to this person to be able to address that. So this is how we plan to engage. We have also kind of tried to identify what could be the startup stages. Why this is important will be clear to you going forward, but based on the stage of your product. For example, are you at a POC stage? Are you already have an MVP? Are you already in the market, trying to make that early entry into the market? Or do you already have a substantial market presence, right? Based on this, you should be able to, we are able to kind of identify the startup stages. There is no mathematical formula based on which we have kind of divided these stages. It's based on our experience and based on some of our conversations with the mentors. But like I said, the reason why we have these stages will become clear to you just in a minute. What are we recommending? And this is something which we, along with the IC representative assigned to you, will really try to help you with. One, we recommend that you form a board from day one. I know that you're mandated to kind of have 2 directors and therefore they do become part of your core board members. But what we are also suggesting is that, yes, along with the founders, please get an independent member or an observer, right, who can kind of guide you in the venture journey. Please invite your mentor and please invite the incubator as an invitee to the board member. For the early stage startups who are in the seed, early and startup, which is these startups, we are suggesting that you please hold monthly meetings. And we have a template, and all those who are attending today will get the template for the board meeting. So we are suggesting that you please have formal board meetings. I'm sure most of you will agree with me that this is not done on a regular basis. You just kind of the founders meet. I mean, we completely understand and sympathize that when there are so many things to be kind of handled in a business, to kind of actually hold a formal board meeting, you kind of say, let's do what is mandated, and that's kind of should be enough. But we feel that this is an excellent way to bring in some discipline in the company. And more importantly, it will help you very clearly articulate which are the areas where the company has certain challenges and certain gaps. So as you can see, what we're suggesting is please have a very formal meeting, and there will be a formal presentation, right? And what would be the present, and this is the agenda of the board meeting, where you talk about what to happen, what were the minutes of the last meeting, what were the actions item which were identified, and what has happened as far as those action items identified. Could you address any of them? Where were the challenges, and what are the new challenges, and how would you like to do that? Again, talk about the financials, talk about your product update. If you actually have a product, You should be able to talk about the manufacturing and delivery aspects of it. Sales, are you in touch with your customers? And when we say sales, we don't just mean actual sales. Are you in touch with your customer? Are you, validating your product, right? What about the HR, right? Do you have a current team? Are you looking at new hires? Are you having challenges in that? Then, of course, like I mentioned, very importantly, the compliance part of it, right? We will be touching upon that. So certainly, my colleague Divyashree and Rupa will touch on that. What are your plans for the next month, quarter, the rest of the year? And then, of course, we will also talk about what your mentor is recommending and implementing. I would also like to mention here that the incubation cell is trying to come up with a digital platform to help you better kind of manage this different data that you are kind of, collecting, and to manage your board, manage the mentor engagement. So hopefully in due course of time, you should be able to capture all of this, use the platform to be able to initiate the board, conduct the board meeting, capture the minutes as well. So for all those who are attending today, we will share this template of the board meeting. We will share the template of the minutes of the meeting, which are to be captured. This will make it much easier for you. The only support that we require from your end is to kind of help our IC representative, kind of help, when you're holding these board meetings and so on, cooperate with them to kind of do this on a regular basis. And once the discipline sets in, you will really see the advantage that this brings. Mentors, we would recommend that as soon after incubation, if not already, you kind of bring in a business mentor who will kind of start helping you from day one. If you need help, then certainly incubation cell will be more than happy to assist you in finding a business mentor for your startup. Again, if you see here, what are we recommending? We are saying, please meet with your mentor formally once in 2 weeks. Yes, every time if there is a concern and if the mentor is okay, you're more than welcome to pick up the phone and just speak to him or her. I mean, that is absolutely depending on the equation that you have with the mentor. But what we are suggesting is that please, every 2 weeks, please have a formal meeting with the mentor, talk out what are the the challenges that you have, get the feedback, structure it, have those minutes ready so that you can again meet with him in after 2 weeks. One of these meetings which you have with the mentor, you can certainly convert it into the monthly board meeting. So you meet with the mentor one-on-one once in 2 weeks. And then once in a month, when you have the board meeting, you will have the mentor meeting there, do invite the incubator as well. And in due course, when you do have an independent board member, then you will have additional strength to the board composition as well. And of course, we are going to help you by trying to keep track of these meetings. We're trying to understand where there are any challenges. If there are mentors whom Incubation Cell has facilitated, we will try to understand how that engagement is working out. If there are challenges, and then try to mitigate that as well. The intent of doing all this is to understand very early on where are the key challenges. So we are hoping that if there are some, gaps, and if they are addressed in the very initial stages, then later on you are free to truly focus on your product, on your business, and just scaling the business aspects of it. Yeah. So this is what we are recommending in terms of engaging with the mentor and the board. If you see the point 3, where we say that, okay, incubator and mentors along with the startup leadership will track the company health. What we are planning to do is, we will be tracking the incubative progress along with the mentor on some predefined parameters that comes up in the next slide. Very early on, if you've just been incubated, then yes, we will just try to kind of, first help you with your company formalities, incorporation, incubation, just getting your team together. If you would like to have seats in the incubation cell, we'll try to help you with all those formalities. And then after that, we hope to kind of engage with you on a quarterly basis. As the company grows, it may be every 4 months. And then as you continue to do well, our interaction handholding, of course, becomes that much limited. And the progress tracker, as we call it, we will be reviewing with the mentor that you have, your business mentor, and of course, some of the senior IC startup, just to kind of understand that, hey, look, which are the areas that you're doing well, don't need help, Which are the areas that, hey, look, we can really help you with. And how do we plan to do that? So we'll capture this. This is what we are doing. Again, like I said, some of my colleagues may have already reached out to some of you. I know they have, to kind of start this engagement, quarterly engagement. So this is kind of the important data. This will be more static, which we will collect from you. As you can see, some of the key information. And this is how we plan to on the key parameters, right? So we start with the leadership and team. What are the roles? Do you have people for the key roles of the company? What is your mentor engagement going on? Do you have mentors for the business, for your domain, for the technology validation part of it? What is the product readiness level at? What is the market traction, right? What is the potential? How far have you already come? Manufacturing deployment, again, for actual product companies. What is your governance and compliance level at? Many a times we see startups who come to the level of raising investments and then find that, hey, look, there is something missing in the compliance. So we would like to keep track of that from the beginning. And then finance, what is your cash flow management like? What is the inflow? What is the outflow? Are you planning to raise the investments? Then finally, the board, what is the composition like? As I said, we recommend an independent member to hold regular meetings and so on. So this is something that the ICRF will be doing along with the senior management and along with the mentor, just to give us insights on how we can better support you. So this is all from my end. If there are any very quick questions, then I can take that for now, or I can ask my colleagues to start with their overviews. It's 4:18 now. So very quick, 1 or 2 questions. If anyone has any concerns, I'll be happy to address them. Of course, I am in office most of the time. So if any of you would like to just come in, have a chat, just write a mail, you're more than welcome to. But like I said, if there is anything very quickly which I can address, I'll be happy to. Or else, yeah, Rupa and Divyashree, maybe we can take the questions towards the end as well. So if you would like to get started, Rupa, would you like to share the slides?
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
I would like to take it first. This is
Sure.
Divyashree here. Hello to everybody here. I probably would have interacted with most of you attending the session. Since I don't have, I'm logging in through my mobile and I don't have the slide with me. Maybe Rupa can help me. Rupa, would you be able to share your screen? I can get started with the presentation.
I'm just trying to see if Rupa is still online. Yeah, maybe the power failed or something. Yeah, just 1 second. I think she's just entering again. Yeah.
Rupa is just joining.
Yeah.
Hi, Rupa. Would you be able to share your screen?
Yeah, doing. Sorry, network glitch.
Yeah,
I have to
yeah,
go
that's
back.
understandable.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I would like to walk you through, all the registration formalities and other benefits the startups can avail with, central government or state government registrations. So to begin with, the Startup India recognition. So this is for all the newly formed startups. So Startup India initiative is launched by the Government of India under the DIPP to support startups, which has a separate legal entity. So the startup will have to be, not older than 7 years counted from the date of their incorporation. And the turnover should not be more than 25 crores in any financial year for startups to avail any schemes under the Startup India initiative. So the registration process is simple. You just have to get yourself, as simple as, signing in on their website with the requisite details. So the key benefits for any startup which is registered under the Startup India are rebates in filing of patents, and then profit of startups for the first 3 years are exempt from taxation. And then you have funding facility from SIDBI and couple of other benefits. So this is highly recommended. Moving on to the next slide. So MSME Udyam registration. So this registration is an identifier that can be used in all applications of all MSME schemes of both central and state government. This was earlier known as Udyog Aadhar registration. So which has now been changed, shifted to Udyam registration, MSME Udyam registration, which is mandatory. So this is required for you to avail all the benefits which are under, all the schemes under the MSME Udyam and under the MSME Act. So the key benefits include protection against delayed payments, and then 50% subsidy on patent registration, collateral free loans, and so on. And this is mandatory. Moving on. Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology Startup Hub. So MeitY Startup Hub is the nodal entity that has been set up under the MeitY. This is to facilitate its vision, which is to promote technology, innovation, startups, and creation of intellectual properties. MHS will act as the national coordination, facilitation, and monitoring center that will integrate all the incubation centers, startups, and innovation-related activities of MeitY. So IITM Incubation Cell is the MeitY-tied incubator, and startups can register their companies at MeitY Startup Hub portal. So mentoring support. So this was touched upon by Jaya ma'am when she introduced, as part of her introduction. We do host weekly mentoring clinics where startups can have one-on-one discussions with our mentors. And then we have assigned mentors where IC will make an effort to identify suitable business mentors for every incubatee. IC will also facilitate interaction with domain experts whenever required. And there is mentor in residence, IC, where IC facilitates one-on-one discussions with industry heads. This is open to seed, growth, and mature startups. IC will reach out to select or eligible startups. And early stage startups are encouraged to attend mentoring clinics. We will, mostly these sessions will be scheduled during office hours, typically between 2 and 5 p.m. And you will receive an email notification in advance, an invite for such events. And you may, register yourself for to attend one of these clinics. So next is our VC in-house session. This is an initiative by Incubation Cell where we facilitate one-on-one mentoring sessions with investors from our network. With this session, you can one, receive any feedback for your deck or your pitch deck. And then you can explore channels of funding, or also consider getting some business perspectives on different strategies that you can use for business development. And then it can also help you identify your spending priorities. These sessions are typically bi-monthly and scheduled between 10:30 to 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on a weekday. We typically send out invites for these sessions 2 weeks in advance. So startups interested to come attend our VC in-house sessions, you can use the link, sign up link to join this. So some of our, VC mentor partners recently are Anicut, Bloom Ventures, Succeed Innovation. Yeah, moving on.
So I hope I'm audible, everyone. So nextly, I'll be taking you all through the various service providers that we have. To start with, we have Agria Consulting, which provides accounting and bookkeeping services to startups. And then to take care of your secretarial and legal related matters, we have our in-house consultants from the firm YSS Legal, Mr. Sudarshan for legal related matters, and Ms. Neha for company and secretarial related matters. As it is indicated here, so we have CS clinics on every Mondays between 4 and 6 p.m. and legal clinics on every Tuesdays between 11 and 1 p.m. You can sign up if you have any queries pertaining to legal and CS related matters and get your queries sorted. And then moving on, we have HR services, which are provided by the Happy Man Business Consultants. The consultant name is Ms. Aruna. She's the CEO of Happy Man. They are here to help you with all the HR related aspects except hiring. And to name a few, employee database management, payroll management, employee onboarding, etc. They can act like an HR wing for your startup. So as I said, for CS and legal, we do conduct clinics for HR as well. You can feel free to sign up if you have any queries pertaining to HR and get it sorted. So for all these clinics, you will receive intimations before a week for you to sign up. And then we have content writing and design services offered by one of our incubated startups, the Skillscapes Private Limited. They can do website content creation, marketing, brochures, and other services as mentioned here. So just to make a mention, if you'd like to get connected with any of these in-house consultants, you can drop in a line to us with a mention of your requirements. All right. And then moving to the product design hub. So IC is creating a comprehensive product design hub to support incubated startups to develop their products through in-house prototyping setup, enabling vendor network, and providing guidance on design related matters with the help of our in-house consultant, Mr. Vivek Sarda. So design clinics are usually scheduled on Saturdays, and information on the upcoming clinics with the timeframes will be sent to you a week in advance for you to sign up. And then we here have our third-party license service providers. So IC has gotten into partnership with service providers to enable free licenses to various software applications. Here we have SolidWorks, Altair, and MathWorks. So SolidWorks is a 3D software tool wherein you get 1 year of free access to all the 10 licenses which is offered by SolidWorks. And Altair, you get access to all their tools for 6 months free of cost. And then MathWorks, you are eligible to avail MATLAB, Simulink, and other supporting softwares for 1 year free of cost. And here we have AWS, Google Cloud, IBM credits, which is sized to each and every startup. And AWS, you get 5K credits. IBM, you get 120K credits. You can apply for that. It's just a simple Google form. And then Zoho One, you have 1 year free access to Zoho One for startups. The whole suite is available for our ecosystem. And then Exotel, you have 4K worth Exotel currency to buy virtual numbers, make calls, SMS, and etc. If you're willing to avail, or if anything of these third-party services are required for you, as I said, you can drop in an email to us and we would be happy to help you with the next steps. So finally, here we have the Startup Essentials. Startup Essentials is a flagship training series. It is a combination of talks and focus workshops covering core entrepreneurial and startup related topics. So we have other training series as well, which is the CEO Roundtable, the 5th year, and the Ask Me Anything series in association with IITM HDIC MedTech Incubator. So next we can quickly move to the compliance aspect. I would request Divya to pitch in again to start off with that. Just a second, I'm sharing the screen, Divya.
Thank you, Rupa.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Rupa, you may start with the Startup India registration, that slide. So I'll come back to the compliance checklist after.
Okay, yes. So as Divya has indicated before, DIP registration is kind of mandated to all the startups. So everybody, a legal entity can, go to the DIP website and apply as in register your startup. You will get a DIP number which you can use in various sources, and UAM, as she has suggested, if you're an MSME, an established company, if you have a factory setup, it is mandated that you compulsorily register for Udyam registration. And it is also a simple form which you can go to their website and fill it up. It takes 2 to 3 days to process your ODM registration, and for DIP, I think it is the same time frame as well. If it is delayed, I think you will get it before 21 days after applying for it. Divya, moving on to the compliance checklist.
No, I would like to go finish the rest of it and come back to the compliance checklist towards the end. So this is like a summation of. The co-founders agreement, I'd like to start from there.
Okay.
Yeah, so co-founders agreement is an official contract that is typically signed between the co-founders, which lays down all the key responsibilities, ownership, and initial investments made by the founders of the company, and also terms of arrangement between them. While I would like to mention that this is more of a recommendatory, formality than mandatory, because it is always better to have something written down just so both the parties are on same page. So this is more of a recommendatory practice. Moving on. So board meeting and minutes of meeting. So all promoters and board members of a company must hold at least one board meeting every quarter, and not more than 120 days should elapse between two successive board meetings. So this is mandated by the Companies Act. Typically you will have notice calling for such a board meeting as at prescribed, the notice should be sent within, should at least have a 14-day window to all the members of the board. And the minutes of the meeting should be properly minuted and filed. So this is a statutory requirement. Moving on. Opening of a company's bank account. So this is one of the initial steps that every company right after incorporation does, is opening of a bank account, and followed by that would be remitting the required capital contribution by the partners into the bank account. So all the promoters of a company must remit capital declared by them at the time of incorporation within 180 days of the date of incorporation. So this is a mandatory requirement. And then filing of form INC 20A. So newly incorporated companies are required to file a declaration for commencement of business within 6 months of incorporation. So it has to be done within 180 days of incorporation or before you commence any commercial activity, whichever is earlier. And there is some penalty involved in case you miss this filing within the due date. Moving on. Appointment of auditors. So the first auditor of the company shall be appointed by the board of directors within 30 days of the date of incorporation of the company up to the period of first AGM. So the first auditor holds his office up until the first AGM. And the form that has to be filed right after this is Form ADT1, which is optional. And then the company's board resolution copy and written consent form from the auditor is required for you to file as per the statutory requirements. So subsequently, after the first AGM, the company shall appoint auditor for a period of 5 years. That is up to the conclusion of the sixth AGM. And the form again to be filed is ADT1. So this is mandatory for the subsequent AGM that happens. And this ADT1 has to be filed with ROC within 15 days from the date of the AGM. So next is the disclosure of interest of directors. So every director in a company shall disclose any interest in any company or body corporate or firm or any other entity, which shall include shareholdings in such manner as may be prescribed. So typically this is a form which is submitted by way of MBP1, where each director disclose that he has a particular shareholding in any other companies. This is a declaration that is required as per statute. So this is at the first board meeting of the company, you will typically collect this declaration form from the director whosoever. Moving on. Statutory register. So statutory register refers to specific records about a company's shareholders, directors, and the meetings held. These records are in addition to normal accounting records that companies are also meant to keep. So the requirement to maintain statutory registers is under the provisions of Companies Acts and rules. Moving on. The annual general meeting. So annual general meeting is typically the progress meeting of every company. You typically report to the members or shareholders of your company, and you discuss all the key milestones or whatever the synopsis of whatever happened that 1 year, in details, in quantitative and qualitative aspects. So this has to be the AGM has to be conducted within 9 months from the end of its first financial year. That is, the financial year is typically from April up until the next March, 31st of next March. So subsequent all AGMs after the first AGM should be held within the 6 months from the end of the respective financial year. And EGM is when there is a special resolution that needs, or a special agenda that needs to be communicated, for which you can call a meeting, extraordinary general meeting to deal with urgent matters. Like for instance, if there is a fraud in the company, and you cannot wait till another AGM for you to convene a meeting, you call for an EGM. And form MSME1. So all companies obtaining supplies of goods or services from micro and small enterprises whose respective payment cycle exceeds 45 days shall file MSME1. So there is a definition for the micro enterprise, small enterprise, as you see in this slide. And then the due date for filing of MSME1. So for the first, it is a half yearly return that you file. So for the first half year, that is from April to September, the return has to be filed within 30th October of every year. And for the second half, that is from October to March, you file the return by 30th April of every year. So there is some penalty involved in case you miss this filing. DIR 3 KYC. So these are the KYC requirements for every director. So every director who has been allotted DIN on or before the end of the financial year and whose DIN status is approved, this is a mandatory requirement for him to file file the DIR3 KYC before 30th September of the immediately next financial year. So let's say for FY 21-22, he will have to file before 30th September of 2022. So there is a fee late. I mean, in case you, I mean, if this filing is delayed, there is a late fee of 5,000. And then form DPT3. So DPT3 is a return of deposits that the company must file to furnish information about any outstanding receipt of loan or money other than the deposits. So form DPT3, filing is an annual return that is typically done. And due date for due date of compliance is cutoff date to ascertain loans and deposits is 31st of March. Due date of filing is 30th June. Moving on. So filing of financial statement AOC4. So every year the financial statements of the company needs to be registered with MCA. The audited financial statements with annual reports needs to be filed within 30 days of AGM through form AOC. Due date of compliance, this has to be done within 30 days of conducting AGM. Filing of annual return MGT7. So annual return is an annual or yearly form which contains information regarding the company, its shareholders, directors, key managerial personals, etc. as on 31st March and filed with ROC. It is a mandatory requirement. A company files the form MGT7 for its annual return, and it has to be done within 60 days from the date of AGM. And there is some late fee or penalty involved in case the due date is missed. If the company has website, uh, there also needs to be filed MGT9. Yeah, moving on. Appointment of company secretary. So in case of companies which have paid up share capital of more than 10 crores, it is compulsory for them and also for all the listed companies to appoint a full-time company secretary. So the form that needs to be filed is DIR 12 within 30 days of such appointment of such personnel. And there is a penalty in case the applicable companies miss such statutory compliance.
I will take it from here, Divya, and then you can circle back to the compliance checklist. All right. So, guys, introducing you to the statutory filings. To start with, TDS, everybody will be well aware of this term, but just to give you a glimpse, TDS is tax directed at source, is a system introduced by the Income Tax Department whereby individuals responsible for making payments have to deduct tax at source at prescribed rates. It is applicable to salary professionals, commissions, and interest received, etc. So here TDS rates applicable to startups and its due dates, penalties are highlighted here. Just to give you an example, if you're a salaried professional, then if your salary is up to 2.5 lakhs per annum, then the tax rate is nil. If it is somewhere between 2.5 to 5 lakhs, then you'll have to deduct 5% from the source. So that is an example. Moving on, we come to the TDS return filing. Those who have deducted TDS is required to file TDS returns. There are quarterly statements submitted to the IT department by the deductor, and it contains information pertaining to tax deducted and deposited. It has its respective due dates as well, which is indicated here. And then moving on to the payment of advance tax, it is not applicable to everyone, but just so you know, it means the income tax can be paid in advance instead of lump sum payment that you make at the year end. And there are applicable due dates as well. And the liability is also given here. Payment of ESI, IC, and PF, it is very known term to everyone. But ESIC, if your company has 10 plus employees, then you are required to register yourself or the company for ESIC. And then PF, if it is 20 plus employees, then you're required to register your company for the PF applicability. And then coming to the professional tax, it is a tax on all kinds of professions, trades, employees, and it is levied based on the income of such profession, trade, and employment, etc. So the due dates for filing is given here. It's before 30th March for the first half of the financial year and 31st March for the second half of the financial year. So here is yet another important aspect, the GST, goods and service tax, which has replaced many indirect taxes in India. So if you are a product-based company and if your turnover exceeds 40 lakhs, you're mandated to register your company under the GST. And if it is a service-based firm and your revenue is exceeding 20 lakhs, then yes, you would have to register. If your supply is going across states, then yes, you would have to register your company under the GST. So here are two types of GST returns which you need to file, but I hope there are several types. Here, just to indicate, GSTR1 is a monthly or quarterly return filed by every registered dealer, and GSTR3B is a monthly summary return filed by a taxpayer by 20th of every month. So thank you guys. Divya will circle back to the compliance checklist. She will show you how IC's compliance checklist looks like.
So this is like a snapshot. This covers everything that we just walked you through. So I thought it would be better to have this towards the end of the presentation. Here, if you see, once you incorporate yourself, you will have the basic details like company's PAN number, and then DIP registration, GST registration number if it is applicable, and then the Udyog
Divyashree,
Aadhaar
sorry
number.
to interrupt. I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that this is a checklist which Incubation Cell has kind of put together to help the startups, right? So we kind of will share this checklist with you at appropriate times. One, to kind of help you understand which are the key compliance aspects which Rupa and Divyashree have just talked about, and also to help us kind of, keep track that, okay, these are, still some gaps and we can see how best to help you, and also to have information like your auditors and the DIP and so on, right, Divyashree? So
Yes.
just wanted to mention that. Yeah, please go ahead.
Great. So as Jaya ma'am said, it kind of helps you keep track of respective due dates. You can have reminders set appropriately. I'd like to quickly walk you through, the format and also what each, respective column means. So here, the co-founders agreement, if it is, if this has been done, you can update the status accordingly. And then you can fill out the directors list of directors of the company, and then the opening of bank account. While there is no due date applicable, but after the incorporation, whenever this would typically be your first step. And then remittance of capital by promoters, which is required to be done within 180 days of incorporation or before you start any commencement of any commercial operation. This is required. So this is for you to keep a tab on that. And then filling of form INC 20A. This is for newly incorporated companies, which is required to be done within 180 days or before commencing operations. Then appointment of the first auditor has to be done at the board meeting, and it has to be done, the ADT one that you need to file has to be done within 30 days from the date of incorporation. The disclosure of interest of directors, form MBP1 and DIR 8. This has to be done at the first board meeting. Typically, at the first board meeting, you collect these forms MBP1 and DAR8 from all your directors. And then allotment of shares to promoters has to be done within 2 months from the date of incorporation. Preparation of statutory register. This happens after incorporation, and as and when certain transactions happen, you will have to update your register with such information or detail. And then board meeting, which needs to be conducted at least once in every quarter, and not more than 120 days should pass between two consecutive board meetings. So this is required as per statute. And notice for the board meeting. So seven notice is required to be sent out 7 days, at least 7 days prior to the meeting. And if a shorter notice is sent, it must be agreed to by all the directors. And then first annual general meeting has to be conducted within 9 months from the end of the first financial year. So Form AOC and MGT7 has to be filed with ROC. AOC 4 within 30 days of AGM, and MGT7 within 60 days of AGM. An appointment of statutory auditor at the AGM for 5 years. So statutory auditor is appointed at the first AGM for the period commencing from first AGM till the conclusion of sixth AGM. So he holds the office for 5 years. So Form ADT1 has to be filed within 15 days of AGM. Then minutes of meetings need to be finalized within 1 month of the meeting. So disclosure of interest of directors, Form MBP1 and DAR8. After at every first board meeting of the financial year, this has to be collected from the directors. Form MSME1 for dues payable to micro and small enterprises, for which the payment cycle is more than 45 days. So the cutoff date to ascertain dues is the 31st March and 30th September. This is a half-yearly return, as I had earlier mentioned. Then DIR 3 KYC or KYC web to be done by all DIN holders, and the due date is 30th of April. And Form DPT3 for loans and deposits outstanding as of 31st March. So the cutoff date to ascertain loans and deposits is 31st March, and it has to be filed within 30th of June. And board meetings, as I had indicated, has to be held once in a quarter, and not more than 120 days should elapse between two consecutive board meetings. Notice for the board meetings is 7 days at least. And subsequent annual general meeting within 15 months from the previous AGM, or within 6 months from the end of the financial year, whichever is earlier. Then filing of financial statement Form AOC4, which needs to be filed with ROC within 30 days from the AGM. And filing of annual returns MGT7 has to be done within 30 days from the date of AGM. Notice of shareholders meeting. So if it is a shareholders meeting, a notice of at least 21 days is required. And if it is a notice of board meeting with your directors, a notice of 7 days is required. Then appointment of company secretary. So this is optional and only if it is applicable to the companies. As I said earlier, if the paid up capital is more than 5 crores, this is mandated. More than 10 crores, I believe, but anyway. Form DIR 12 has to be, in case there is an in case this is mandatory and if there is an appointment that has been made, Form DIR 12 has to be filed within 30 days of appointment. And then minutes of meetings has to be finalized within 1 month from the date of such meeting. And payment of taxes. So payment of TDS happens every month, and it has to be paid on or before 7th of every month. And filing of TDS returns. So TDS returns are typically filed every quarter, it has to be done within 15 days of each quarter. And filing of income tax return is on or before the 30th September. 30th September is normally the due date, but in sometimes the due date kind of gets extended for reasons like for this year it has been extended up until end of December. And then payment of advance income tax. Advance tax is applicable when the taxable income, if you foresee, is more than 10,000, then you will have to pay a quarterly advance tax. So if for each quarter there is a specific percentage that you need to pay to the income tax department. And then payment of ESI or PF, if it is applicable to your organization, then on or before 20th of each month. And payment of professional tax. So this is a half yearly return. So for the first half of the financial year, on or before 30th September. For the second half, on or before 31st March. And then coming to GST filings, GSTR 1. So this is typically declaration of all your sales or revenue for the, this is a monthly, mostly done monthly. The due date of it is typically the 10th of next month. And GSTR 3B, where you you declare your revenue, that is sales for that month, and also any inwards or purchases for that month. So it will be 20th of next month, that is the due date. And GSTR 9 is an annual return, and that is done at 31st December of the next financial year. So this is a snapshot of all the compliances that are all the compliances under the Companies Act, and also the taxation direct and indirect has been covered. So this is primarily applicable to most of the startups. So apart from which, you also have specific compliances which we have not touched upon here. But if you do have any queries, you can feel free to sign up to one of our either the CS clinic or legal clinic that happens. I think that's about it.
Thank you, Rupa and Divyashree. That was a very patient outlining of all the compliances that are required. So we're just touching 5 o'clock. If any of you have any questions, we could start with that. We already have received some questions from the startups who have signed up, but we could start by taking those, since you've kind of now heard us in terms of our engagement process, the startup support services, and in terms of the compliances. If there are any quick questions which you have, we can start with that. And then maybe I can ask Rupa and Divyashree to address some of the questions which were already raised to us. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
Hi,
I have
ma'am.
a question.
Okay. Anyone can go first? Yeah.
I'll wait.
Yeah, this is Chakravarti from Tita 90. I have questions. You mentioned you have in-house HR service, and another one they will help for 3D modeling.
Yes.
Yes.
Will they provide a service or consultant?
So Mr. Chakravarti, HR, so we have an in-house consultant for HR, which is offered by Happy Men. If you have any queries pertaining to that, or if you want to draft an employee agreement or onboarding, if you want help with onboarding process, offer letter processing and everything, it can be taken care by the consultant itself. I can connect you with them, facilitate the initial meeting, and then if she seems to be catering to all your requirements, then you can go ahead with them. All right. So all it works is a 3D software tool. Actually, you can just fill up a form for us. It will be installed in your system. I think you're based in IC, right? As in you have seats in IC. So we can
Yes.
install it for you in the system you have, and then you can use it. It is a software tool, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Chakravarti?
So for what about the Happy Man business? So they
I will
can I
reach
use
out
their
to you. Yeah, I will
software?
reach out to you separately for that. It is not a software. I will explain it to you in detail post this call. All right. And I will facilitate a meeting with the consultant wherein you can participate and ask your queries. Okay, sir?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
As
All
far
right.
as the design aspect is concerned, sir, we do have a design consultant, Vivek Sarra, who can help you if you have any specific design. So even if you would like to some help in how best to use SolidWorks, or you have any other design issues, then you can certainly reach out to him. As far as actually services, right now, we just have a database of vendors and service providers whom we connect to based on the feedback that we've received from different startups. The hope is that we will start with some small workshops which we are creating within the research park. 3D printing is one of them, both modeling and printing, and we are hoping to start that sometime soon.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Sure. Yes, Sukumaran, you had a question.
Yeah, my question was regarding the appointment of the auditor. That has to be within 1 month of the incorporation of the company. And your checklist said that there is no filing. But I think somewhere in the presentation, it was to be in the RO register of the company.
Divyashree?
No, it has to be, one second, appointment of auditor, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So ADT one.
It is optional actually. Yeah.
So there is a time frame within which it has to be done, but the filing is optional.
No, ADT one has to be filed for the subsequent, I mean, as soon as you incorporate, within 30 days, you'll have to appoint the first auditor. And for that, the filing is optional, but subsequently after the AGM is conducted after, 1 whole year of you commencing operation within, I think 6 months from the end of the financial year, you'll have to conduct the AGM. At that point in time, you will have to file ADT1 within 30 days from the date of AGM.
Okay, so appointment of the first auditor, I need not file.
Yeah.
It has to be only dated 30 days from the incorporation.
Yeah.
date.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, or Divyashree, do you want to just quickly touch upon some of the questions which were received? Maybe you and Rupa can just quickly go through some of them.
Yeah, so many of startups has asked for compliance checklist. If they could send a document or something like that, we will definitely float that out to all the participants. Just wanted to acknowledge that here.
Yeah.
And
the other questions were a little specific. So we'd be happy if you can one reach out to us separately, or sign up to one of our CS or legal clinics to have those questions clarified.
Yeah, so just wanted to mention that Rupa and Divyashree handle the legal CS and HR clinics. So for any of those aspects, please feel free to reach out to them, and they'll kind of guide you on, what your questions are and which clinic you should be specifically attending. Shriparna, who's kind of been hiding, Shriparna, could you come online for a minute? So Shriparna kind of coordinates all our training sessions. So certainly, if you have any suggestions on, any specific talk she would like us to cover, any workshop which you would like us to conduct, then certainly, please reach out to her. And of course, feel free to reach out to me for any other challenges and gaps that you see. So if there are no other questions, yeah, someone wants a PPT of the meeting. And yes, so we are planning to share, a complete. So in fact, that is what was presented to you, the presentation which covers the entire support services. So certainly we will be kind of happy to, there are just a few tweaks which are needed in that. We were just waiting to kind of do that. But once that's done, yes, certainly we'll be happy to share that. What we will certainly be doing at the end of the session, like I said, we will share the board meeting template, the board meeting minutes capturing template, and also something to help you capture your mentor meeting minutes, because like I mentioned, it is always good to kind of have a formal meeting with your mentors, regardless of how many informal meetings you have. We will try to share that that template as well. Yes, Sukumaran, you had another question?
Yeah. I wanted to know about whom I should contact to get information about regulatory bodies. Like I'm working on a medical device,
Right.
which is trying to use virtual reality for stroke rehabilitation. So there are a lot of these regulatory bodies for approval, how to go about the clinical trials and all that. Whom should I approach for more detailed information regarding this?
Your best resource would be Muthu Sukumaran. Okay.
Okay.
Being, at HTIC, he is kind of definitely the best resource. And he has, he and HTIC, of course, Dr. Mohan Shankar, they have an excellent network, and I'm sure they'll be able to guide you on this. Over and above that, if there are just some very broad legal aspects that you want, then certainly you can come to the legal clinic, which we were mentioning. But since you're specifically looking at, these regulatory aspects of medical devices, Muthu would be the best resource to go to first.
Yeah, sure. I'll reach out to you.
Yeah.
Now about the mentoring thing, the mentors will be provided. Just HDIC assist us in that, because
yes, they
I'm
should.
finding.
So our mentoring clinics are open to everyone, Sukumaran. We hold these. I think you should be getting the emails as well. So just to spend a minute, so what we typically do is every Friday we have these 2 to 3 mentors who come in, and any questions that you have, you can kind of present to them. What we then try to do is we kind of reach out to the startups to see if they would like to have an assigned mentor. Yes, certainly reach out to HTSC, because they might have a mentor pool who kind of have somewhat of a domain expertise. And in consultation with them, if you feel that, yes, you would like a business mentor, we'll be more than happy to help you in that as well.
Yeah, I need domain expertise mainly in the virtual reality related stuff, because I'm finding a lot of difficulty in making progress at that end.
Understood.
So that is one something I really require.
Okay.
So I'll reach out to them for that.
Please do. Please have a chat with Muthu. And of course, we are always available if further to that, both you and Muthu feel that something is needed, we'll be more than happy to help.
Yeah, I'll definitely be meeting him, because the MOU signing is yet to happen. So I think it will happen soon. So as soon as that is there.
Sure.
And just HKC help us in IP related stuff, because I've registered in Startup India. My DIPP registration, I don't know, it was pending. The last time I checked, there was something I did not put in. They'd asked for the Aadhaar, so I put in the Aadhaar also. So I think this week it should come through. I'm not sure. But
Rupa can help with that. If you could reach out to Rupa, she can kind of, I don't know if we can intervene with the government to kind of, but at least she will know what has been the precedence and what kind of typically happens in these cases. So she should be able to guide you on that. Am I right, Rupa?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, definitely.
So please reach out to Rupa. And what we can do is that if Rupa and Divyashree, you can just enter your email IDs, in the chat box.
Sure.
Then they can kind of reach out to each of you. Hemlata has a question, Rupa and Divyashree, about whether we have a suggested list of statutory compliance agencies who can help with the filing, remittance, etc. And she would like ongoing support with that.
You can, Ms. Hemalata, you can get in touch with our in-house consultants. They can help you with your query. They should be able to help you with your query. Yeah.
They will also be happy to, I mean, in case you want the CS or legal consultant on board for your normal, statutory compliances, you should be, I mean, we can also help you, put you in touch with the consultant to help you understand what is the process, if that is your requirement.
Yeah, sure.
Devashri, would you be able to type your email ID, or should I request Rupa to do that?
I'm doing it right away.
All right, all right. All right.
Myself,
Yeah. Shailaja, you had a question?
yes, ma'am. My name is Karthikeyan. Ma'am, actually, can we start simultaneously the two products, ma'am, developing in the startup initially?
I don't understand the question. Are you asking whether you would like to develop two products at the same time?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask what these two products are?
Ma'am, one is the special purpose machinery for rocket motor case.
Okay.
Then another one is from lithium battery. We need to extract the contents from the lithium battery and for recycling the lithium battery like that. Some
Okay.
chemical.
Okay. So usually, see, one, I would always urge you, if you have any questions regarding the venture, I would always urge you to come to the mentoring clinic. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you have specific, it could be with product as well. I mean, you're not requiring specific technology inputs, right? You're more in terms of the business approach, right? What should be the approach? That's what you would like to ask, and our mentors would certainly be the best to kind of answer on this. But just as a general answer, we would normally recommend that a business focuses on one product at a time, right? Unless you are kind of, it's kind of a consulting company, which is, taking in a consulting project, developing a product, handing it over, then doing something else, right? If that is not the case and your venture is focused on a certain solution, and the products are more or less related, we would always recommend that you focus on one thing at a time, right? Because it does take time for you to kind of develop that product, then kind of, get entry into the market, scale that up, establish yourself. So that is the general response that we do give to all our starters. But again, like I said, I would strongly request you to please come into our mentoring clinics, and our mentors will be more than happy to advise you. In fact, they would be the best people to advise you.
Okay. Right.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please do, please do.
Okay. I have two queries. One, in regard to business mentor, should we connect to Muthu sir, or should we get back to you for business mentor?
So again, yeah, like I was saying, I think HTIC would be the best resource, since, like I said, most of the specific sector specific incubators have that network. So if you are from HTIC, then I would suggest that you have a word with Muthu about, who they would recommend to kind of help you. And once you've had that chat, if you and Muthu feel, then certainly we can kind of help you further as well on that. And you're always welcome to come to the mentoring clinics.
Okay. And second question is about, say, for example, we need some support from IIT faculty to validate our technology. What kind of support we can get, and how do we go about it?
Okay, with faculty, it's, see, it has to be, we can always reach out to the faculty. So if you would have to do that kind of homework to understand which is the faculty who will be able to best help you, right? So we kind of hope that, you would be able to identify the faculty or faculty, group of faculty who will be able to help you. We can always kind of reach out to them saying that, hey, look, a startup kind of would like some of your assistance in that. Depending on their time, bandwidth, their interest, certainly the faculty, can reach out. But we can't always expect that, right? So sometimes it takes some time to be able to find the right faculty who has that kind of time and bandwidth to be able to spend on it. But certainly we encourage, if you kind of know the area where you want some faculty inputs, and which of the faculty or group of faculty would be the right people, certainly we can kind of reach out to them and see if they can help you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so I see a question here. In fact, it says a general feedback on increasing the time for one-on-one mentoring clinic from an hour to 1.5 hours. You should understand, Vandan, that typically if there are 3 startups, right? And the mentors are here giving their time pro bono, right? So 3 hours for 3 startups is quite a bit. I mean, they are kind of spending that amount of time. And the intent is you make best use of that 1 hour. And that is why we kind of insist that you give the slides in time, and mentors are absolutely very diligently go through those slides. So the suggestion is that you do not spend time on introducing or reintroducing your concept to the mentors. Most of them would have gone through your slides, understood what it is. You should understand these are extremely senior people, serial entrepreneurs who have held senior industry positions. So therefore, they will kind of expect you to come to the point very quickly on where are the areas that you're having challenges, where would you best like them to help you with. So therefore, an hour has worked wonderfully for us, especially when there are 3 startups, as you can imagine. We are expecting quite a bit from our mentors. So it stands at 1 hour for now. We do make exceptions once in a while if there are a few startups, but otherwise, yeah, this is what we continue with. Are there any other questions?
Hello, madam. My question. I'm Jevin from Loyalman. My question is what are the testing equipments available at IC, and what is the method to approach with it?
Okay, so as a first level, what I would request is you can write to Rupa, Jevin. Yeah.
Okay.
She will put you in touch with people who are. We do have some small electronic and mechanical workshop, right? I do not, it's not very full-fledged because we kind of keep the minimal equipment that is required, and so that you don't have to kind of go out every time. But like I mean, I would like to again warn you, right now it's minimal. We are hoping to build on that. And again, like I mentioned, we are hoping to get in some 3D printing space setup as well. But there is some minimal setup which is there, and you're welcome to kind of come in and take a look at what is available. I do not know if it will meet your requirement, but do write to Rupa. She will connect you to the people who are in charge of these workshops as of now, and you can coordinate with them to come in and kind of take a look at what is there.
Thank you so much, madam.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, any last question which you would like to ask? Okay, then thank you. Most of you have kind of stayed on through what has been a lot of information, being passed on today. But I do hope, you're convinced of the sincerity of the efforts that we are making to kind of make sure that your company progresses well, and we're trying to assist you in that. We will, like I again mentioned, we will share with you the different templates which we spoke about. There will be an IC rep who will be, in touch with you. Will share the checklist as well, as and when required. And anytime that you would like to, any questions that you would like answered, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll do our best to address that. So thank you so much, Rupa and Divyashree. That was, like I said, very patiently and diligently explained. Thank you, Sriparna, for coordinating all this, and thank you all of you. Trust all of you are safe and away from the rains and at home, and fingers crossed that the quote unquote storm passes soon, and we all kind of can get to meet in person as well sometime. So thank you so much for attending, and hope to see you at some other Startup Essentials forum soon. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.